Hey y'all, welcome. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to check out another one of my videos. And today is a super exciting video. As you guys saw from the thumbnail, we have another exciting palette collab from Odens, and it's an addition to their legendary Diversa collection, which I am so very excited about. And it is the, I believe it's pronounced Hela. I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong because I tend to when it comes to Odens' amazing palettes. So feel free to correct me down below in the comment section. But this is with Odens' and Angelica, and they did this palette collab together, and I think it's just an absolute beauty because not only is the outside green, which you guys know I love, and not only just green, but like grungy green and all that, but look at the inside. It's got so much beautiful grungy green. I was ecstatic when I got this in the mail and opened it, and I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna have some fun with this palette. So this is what we're gonna be diving into today. I do not know the information when it comes to the launch, but whatever I do know at the time of this video going up, I will either have it on the screen here, or if it's not here, check down in the description box and I'll put it there, as well as links. So if you want to shop, you can check out their website. I'm so excited to be playing with this palette today and sharing with you guys some looks that I created. So for this video, I decided to do 2 looks with this palette. So I'm gonna do one tutorial, this tutorial right here, and it's the very first time I dipped into it. We're gonna dive into the grunge. As you guys can see, the greens, the 2 top rows is what I focused on. I had so much fun. But for the second look, I decided I wanted to try and see if this was a dupe or just a comparable palette to the Kaleidos Flower Punk palette. This is a palette I'm currently trying. I'm like super late to it, but it was definitely, when I first opened this palette, I definitely thought of the Kaleidos Flower Punk palette, and I was like, you know what, it'd be fun to do a little battle. So for the second look, we're going to do one of these on each eye, and I'll also swatch them out so you guys can see what they look like side by side. Because if you're not a collector or just crazy about makeup like me, maybe you already have the Flower Punk palette and you might not need this if they're super close and similar, or if you missed out on this, never picked it up, and now that you see this and it's a little bit more of an expanded version, it has more grungy colors in there, maybe you'll, offer this over this palette. But whatever the case is, I think it would just be fun to be able to do a little battle of the palettes and do one on each eye. So for the second look, it'll only be one eye featuring this palette, but it will still be an eye look. So in this video, you will get 2 palettes, as well as I'm going to swatch this palette out. And then also in the second look right beforehand, we'll swatch out the Kaleidos palette so you guys can see for yourself and make your own decision whether you think they're a dupe or not, or just similar palettes and similar color stories or not. So that is what we're doing in today's video. That is my plan. Let's go ahead and first dive into the swatches of this palette all by itself. I don't have anything primed on my arm. I just stick my finger in the pan however many times you see my hand go off screen, and I swatch it out just to make it look decent enough for you guys to be able to see the color and the quality of the shadows. So let's get into that and we'll be right back. Alright, so those are all the swatches. I'm so excited to create tons of looks with this palette, but we're going to start with the first one, which is this look. So let's go ahead and start creating this eye look together on my face. Okay, so let's dive right into this. The Hela, Odens' and Angelica palette. Not the biggest fan of the skeleton, that's just me, but I do think that the artwork and the presentation of the palette is just exceptional. So anyway, this is actually my first time at diving in, so here's what the palette looks like. All sorts of beautiful and fresh and new and untouched. I'm going to start with this green shadow. Not 100% sure how to pronounce it, so we're just going to point to it. I've tried their Erd palette and also all of the other 3 palettes that they started out in the Legacy Diversa collection, I believe is what it's called. So I'm excited that they're continuing it, and I'm anticipating, expecting great things. I'm a little surprised that they changed up the palette style, because I think it would be cool with all of their palettes in the Legacy Diversa collection were the same because they were almost bookish in that you could like sit them all up and you could read the sides and whatnot. So it'd be neat if, as they continue to expand it, if you could kind of put them all together. Packing that on looks absolutely beautiful. No issues. Maybe the teeniest amount of fallout there, and not mad at that at all. I'm just packing this on, and then I'm gonna go on with a and working on the crease, or yeah, into my crease. So now we're gonna go into the crease, and I think I wanna work on kind of a mid-tone color to put there, and then I'm going to probably finish the top of the crease off with like this, so like blending out whatever I put in the crease. So I think I'm gonna start with Moss and see how dark it is. This shade right here. I like the grungy colors in here with the top 2 rows and the mattes, but they definitely, looking in the pan, do look a little bit light, like kind of like, I'm curious to see the intense amount of pigmentation, because if they give a lot of pigment when you're blending and working them into eye looks so that they're obviously different and stand out on their own, then I'm a happy camper. But if they kind of look all kind of like the lightish color I'm seeing in the pan, I feel like it might be a tad bit, I don't know, like kind of disappear into my skin tone type of shade for me, at least personally. Okay, it's showing up, but definitely not super dark. So I'm gonna take some time and see if I can build up a bit of depth with this shadow, because I want to have a nice amount of grungy green depth right in here in my crease, like so. The color is building up, so I really like when colors can give you a varying amount of depth. I think that makes it very versatile, you know, depending on what type of look you're going for or what type of skin tone you have. Maybe you like it more of a lighter tone, and so you can just go in very lightly, or if you're like me and you're just like, where's the color saturation, you're able to spend a little bit more time packing on color and get more pigment, because I feel like this looks a lot darker than the first 2 passes I did packing on color. So let me show you so you guys can see. This is the shade I used, and then as you can see in the crease, I feel like that is a whole lot darker. So I'm gonna catch my right eye up and then we'll move on. But now we're gonna take that underworld shadow right there, and I'm going to use this to be kind of like the last step of my crease as I blend it out and kind of diffuse it out to nothing. Okay, this might be a good brush to use to place it in here, kind of get the color where I want it, but I think I will reach for a different brush to blend it out, because I feel like it's just gonna take too long trying to blend it out with such a dense brush. I'm going to take this one from Blend Bunny, the B5, pick up just a touch of it, tap it off, and then now I'm just going to use this. I mainly want the outer edges just to look really blended out. I love that, like, the yellowy color. I can definitely see it in person. It just gives that almost, I don't know, just like that grungy yellow effect to the outside of my look, and it's definitely going to look really complete and really, really good when I kind of bring it around, which I guess I could do. I always forget this when my face is done, that I can finish the look and wrap it all around as I'm working. So here is where we are at. I'm really liking how it looks. All 3 colors, I feel like I can see the different shades. Let's move on to the shimmers. I'm gonna put a touch of a glitter primer on. This is something I always do with shimmers. If you hear my kids in the background, they are not unsupervised. I have one of my sisters over for a couple days and they are having a blast. So that's the background noise, if you can hear it over the music and my talking. But anyway, now we're gonna hop in. I have these little brushes. This is a Morphe some type of brush, the black one, and then a Sigma F70. I'm gonna use the tinier one for the inner portion and then the bigger one for the outer portion. So what like I said, I think I'm gonna do is use this one on the inside corner and this one all over the lid. Okay, so this side is still a little wet. I must have put on more. So let's go ahead and just put on this side. And let me just make sure you guys can see this side, because I tend to do it off camera because it's just a little awkward with the way I sit for filming. Depends on the type of formula. They have a couple different type of formulas and I really, really love them. Like, I think most all the ones in the 3 other legendary Diversa collections I loved. I thought they were beautiful. Or they have more of like a toppery type of kind of iridescent with a clear base type of shadow that I'm not the biggest fan of. And then they also have like a really flaky formula that I'm not the biggest fan of. So this is looking like exactly the type of formula I like. It's a little bit firm, but you can really dig your brush in there, pack it on, and then as you're applying, it's not hard to get it to transfer, and you know, leave the brush and go to the lid, and it's a nicely pigmented, it's not like iridescent or like see-through base. It's got a nice amount of color to it, which is what I like, and a lot of shine to it. So I like that. Let me catch this eye up and then we'll move on to the next. That looks really pretty. There's a lot of sparkle to the shadow when you're turning your head. I don't know if you'll be able to see it on camera, but I see it in person, and it almost looks like that metallic foiled finish, which I love with my eyeshadow. So now we're going into Venom, the bright green, picking it up. It looks like it's picking up same as the other shades, so that's exciting. We're gonna place this on right in the middle and just blend it both ways until I want this shade to be obvious in here. I don't want it to get lost because it's such a pretty bright green. So I'm just gonna blend it and work it in. This shade is looking exactly like the other one did. So it's got nice base to it, nice color to it, easy to get on my brush, easy to get on my lid, and it's blending and meshing with the other shimmer really beautifully. Yeah, this is a type of formula I really like that. So now let's go ahead and we're gonna move on and do my lower lash line. I'm gonna go on with a little pencil brush. This is the L220 brush, and I'm gonna go into this shade and put it right, actually I want more of a smudger brush, hang on. Yeah, like this one. This is from Milani 546 brush, and I wanna put it literally just right against here. And just to use another shade, I wanna kind of make down here more taupey. I think it just might complement the really grungy top and be able to contrast as well. So I think it'll just be a nice pop of something else. Okay, so now I'm gonna take that pencil brush, which I had stuck back in here, and I'm gonna go ahead and let's use Wolf. Just see what it is. It's still got that grunginess to it, but it's a bit more of just a, you know, brown type of grunge. So we're gonna take this, I forgot this pencil brush is not the softest, so I feel like I'm taking little knives to my lower lash line. Oh my goodness, where is, let me use this one. This is Blend Bunny's B4. Kind of the same story, a tiny bit bigger, but oh my goodness, it's gonna be so much softer. Oh, her brushes are really good. I'm super happy with the quality of her brushes. They're so soft. Okay, I'm super happy with that. That went on really nicely, and I am glad I went ahead and did something just a little different on the lower lash line to try more of the shadows, but also just to, I like that differentiation between the top and the bottom. I feel like it just makes the look pop. So now I'm super excited about this. We're gonna dive into this shade. Look at this. Oh, this looks so pretty. I wonder, is it a multi-chrome? I think it is. It's like I see like a icy blue, red, yellow, some green, like lime green. Okay, we're putting this on the inner corner. It's not gonna show the true beauty of this shadow because it needs more lid space. So there it is. Like I said, not the best way to show this. It's definitely one I'm going to do a look. I'll probably do it for Instagram with this palette, and I will use this shade all over the lid because that's going to be so pretty. Again, I'm going to have to try it with both the grungy colors and then the more pinky tones to see what type of looks come, or what type of the colors inside the multi-chrome jump out, because I just feel like there's a lot of dimension there that I can't wait to explore. But there it is, very pretty, very blinding. So now I'm gonna go ahead and do my wings and put on mascara, and then we can kind of close out the first portion of this video. Okay, so here is the finished look. I am super happy with it. I feel like all of the mattes performed beautifully well. I was a little concerned, as you guys heard, with the lightness of the shades that I used in my crease, but I felt like I was able to build them up really nicely, so happy with that. And then every single one of the shimmers, which I only used 3, but all the shimmers I was extremely happy with. I love the formula. They're the type of formula that I enjoy working with. And as I said, Odens Eye has a couple different formulas that some I prefer working with and others I really don't. And so far with those 3 shadows, none of them were like flaky. None of them were super transparent and just sparkly. So I am a huge fan. This look is an absolute win in my book. So overall, love this look, super excited about it. But yeah, at this point, we can go ahead and we're gonna segue. For me, it's gonna be tomorrow when I do this look, but for you guys, it's gonna be the next look where we compare this Hela palette with the Kaleidos Flower Punk palette. So we're gonna battle these out together on their eyes. Let's go ahead and jump into it. All right, so we are going to be diving into look 2 with the new palette that Odens Eye collaborated with Angelica. And I don't know if I said in the beginning, like in the first video, which was yesterday for me, but congratulations to Angelica. I think that's super exciting. I was thinking about it yesterday after I finished recording and was cleaning up, and I was like, did I even say congratulations to her? Congratulations, that's super awesome. Super excited that she got this opportunity with Odens Eye. I think that is amazing. But yeah, we're going to be doing another look with this palette, as well as for this look, I'm going to be comparing the Odens Eye Hela palette against the Kaleidos Flower Punk palette. Now, these 2 palettes are very similar in my opinion in color stories, and as soon as I opened the new Odens Eye, I was like, oh, that gives me vibes of the Flower Punk palette, and maybe it's because I'm in the middle of testing it. So I've been creating looks, I've been looking at it a lot, and that's just where I saw the similarities. But in case any of you, when you see this palette, think also of the Flower Punk, I thought it'd be fun to do a video where I battle the 2 out on my eyes and try to create a look that is as similar as I can get between them, as well as swatch it out so you guys can see for yourself in swatches how close these 2 palettes are. So I do have it on my eyes today. I did one eye with the Flower Punk palette and one eye with the Odens Eye and Angelica palette. If you want to leave your guesses down below, feel free to. But before we get into the tutorial and where I show you guys which palette I have on which eye, I do want to share with you guys the swatches that I did of the two palettes together. And I'm just going to put it over as like a voiceover as I'm talking here. But I swatched the two out individually, the two palettes individually, and I'm just going to show you, crop the two together in a little video so you can see the entire palette, laid out in their own color stories and how the palette is designed. And then I'm also going to show you another picture where I kind of half and half it on the same arm, and I try to swatch all of the Kaleidos colors as close as I could to the shade that I felt like it was the most similar from the Odens Eye and Angelica palettes, except for the mints. I just kind of threw them in somewhere because there is no really minty green shade at all in the Odens Eye and Angelica palette, but since they were the only two that I didn't swatch, I figured I'd just throw them in there. So those are the two types of swatches that I did comparing the Kaleidos and the Odens Eye palette. So I hope those swatches are helpful. So let's go ahead and dive right in. Gonna go back in time a little bit and create this look that you guys see on my eyes right now. All right, so let's dive into the second look. So here's what we are working with. I think I'm gonna focus on like this pink and this pink in the inner corner. I'll probably do, I know this and this shade is not super close because this is more of a grungy green, this is more of a grungy brown green, but it's the closest I have, so I think I'm going to use these two in the outer corner, and then I'll use this shade and this shade to kind of blend it and diffuse it out. And then the lid colors are, I'm going to try to use both the green and the pink in the Kaleidos palette, and then the equivalent of that is going to be this pink and then this green, because I didn't use this one yesterday. Since this video is going to be mainly focused on, the review for the new Odens Eye palette, I'm going to put Odens Eye on my left so you guys have the best view of it, and then I'll put Kaleidos on my right. We're going to put the pinks, which is the Odens Eye is called Hela. I'm just going to take this and place it right in here. I definitely think, like, now that I've swatched the two palettes out side by side, I feel like they're going to have a similar vibe to them, but I definitely don't think that they're like exact dupes. I don't know, I feel like both have their strong points depending on what you like. Both are beautiful, both are so far great quality as I've been using them. I'm like super happy with both of them. So I'm curious to see when I complete this look how close I can get them, because one neat thing I think about doing these kind of comparing palettes is that, if you have one or the other palette and you see a tutorial that you think is really neat, if it's close enough or dupable enough, it's like you don't need to buy the other palette in order to create a similar look to it. So that's one of the reasons I love to do it. We're gonna go on with the pink. This is the lighter pink in the Kaleidos, which is called Peach Soju, I think. We're just gonna pack that on just like I did the other side, and just keeping it really close to just this middle area. So kind of as the name suggests, peach, this pink is definitely more like a peachy pink than I feel like the other side is like a hot pink. So there's a difference right there. Yeah, this definitely has a more softer, almost like pastelish vibe to the pink, or like I said, a peach, whereas this one is like really bright, vibrant, and just more of like a true hot, not intensely like neon hot pink, but definitely more of a brighter pink. This is just so much softer. And now I'm going to go in with, I'm going to try it with this liner brush. I saw someone using like a really fat liner brush to just apply color very, very precisely to give like a cut crease look, and that made me intrigued. So I'm going to go into this shade right here in the Kaleidos palette, and I'm just gonna put it right into the crease. I just wanna see if I can get a little bit of depth there, and then that way when I put the shimmers on, it might look a little bit more like a cut crease type of look. Like that. It gave just the teentiest hint of like more depth right in here. So I'm just gonna clean this brush off, the pointer brush that I used, and I'm gonna go in to just a touch, just a dab of this shade Suit, because it's so dark, but it's like the closest I have to that shade in the Kaleidos palette. So we're gonna use it very, very sparingly. And even there, I think that's a little too much, but I'm gonna go back over with a little bit of pink. But yeah, this really chubby liner works pretty good for what I was wanting it to do. So I think that's how it's going to look. Let's move on to the outer color. And I think I'm gonna start with the outside corner, and then we'll work our way to the outside crease. Okay, so I'm gonna take a little packer brush like this. This is the L210 brush. We're gonna go into this shade right here. We're gonna place it right on the outside corner, and this will be the darkest color we use, which will be different than yesterday because we used that dark green. So I'm just gonna pack it on like this, and I'm not really doing any blending. I'm just placing it on making sure it's nice and opaque and as dark as it can get, and I want it. And then we'll put the other side on, and then I'll see if I need to add any green to match it. Let's see if we can add a little green to the other side. Because yeah, as you can see, this is just like a neutral brown. So going back to here, I'm just touching it just the tiniest amount into that green. The darkest green in the palette, I'm gonna tap it all over. I don't think this is gonna do the trick because it's a different type of green. It's more of that, like, I feel like Christmassy green, but it's what I have. So I'm just trying to make it darker and more green to match the other side. I think I definitely got it a little more green, but like I said, it's not the right green. Let's go in with a touch of this shade here. We used it yesterday. I'm gonna flip over my brush. Just a little bit of that, see if that can give us more of that grunge that I'm seeing, the grungy green that I'm seeing on the other side. I probably should have done this instead of the dark green. Because yeah, that definitely gives more of that color that I see on the other side. Okay, so there we go. I think that's a whole lot closer. So now we're gonna take this shade, which is called Golden Age and Underworld. And we're gonna put that on the outside corner. I have these two, one's from Sonia G and one's from What's Up Beauty, the R203. Both a very similar type of shape and feel to it and taper to the side. So I'm gonna use the What's Up Beauty on the Odens eye, and I'll use the Sonia G on the other. So let's dive into, what I say, Underworld on this side. We're just gonna add it here. And I'm not really sure if I'm gonna bring the green up a little bit more. I probably will, but if I'm ever unsure, I tend to just leave it and add it in later if I feel like it needs a little something to smooth it out and connect everything together. But I'm just gonna pile this on until I get a nice diffusion, a nice diffuse of color out here, and also just start to lighten up that green a little bit. And I don't really expect the pink and green to like totally mesh, but I'm just gonna soften up the place where they meet. Let me go ahead and do the same with Golden Age. I'm just gonna pack it on here. This definitely looks a little bit like more of like a warm gold because it's called Golden Age, but it has a more of a gold aspect to it, whereas I feel like the other color has more of a green aspect to it. Yeah, and actually looking at it now, this is the color I'm using now. Like I said, it's more gold. This is the color from Odens Eye, and then this is the other like brighter green. So I think I'm gonna take these two and mix it from the Kaleidos to get the color from the Odens Eye. So I'm gonna go into a little bit of that shade right here. So I'm basically just taking these two and mixing it together. It looks like it could be pretty close to that. So I think the two of them combined will bring it really close, because that other color will add the greenness that isn't really in the Golden Age shadow from the Kaleidos. I just realized this is the first time I have featured the Kaleidos palette on my channel. I've been meaning to do a dedicated video on it, kind of a chatty Katie get ready with me, but I just haven't had the opportunity. So this is the first time I'm showing it like a tutorial for it on my channel. I do plan, hopefully, it's just gonna be a little bit later than I anticipated, but I do hope to eventually do an actual video dedicated to the Flower Punk palette, just because I think it'd be fun. I really am enjoying the palette, and I'd like to have like one dedicated video that I can direct y'all to, and not like this dupe video kind of comparing the two. So that's my plan. But anyway, so far so good. Those pinks, that pink I really like. Comparing the two pinks, I really prefer the Odens Eye side. It's a lot more vibrant and intense of a color, and you guys know if I'm gonna go for color, I like it to be intense and vibrant. Okay, so I think this is pretty much how the crease is gonna be. I'm liking how it's looking. I'm gonna close my eyes for a minute, but this is where the mattes are at. Like you can see, I think it's pretty obvious. It's very similar. Definitely has like the similar vibes to it, but there are tiny little differences, especially I feel like mostly with the pinks. Let's move on to the shimmers. I'm super excited for the shimmers. I'm gonna use the pink and the green, the other green that I didn't use yesterday. I'm gonna go in first on the Odens Eye side with that pink, and then for the Kaleidos side, it's going to be this pink, and I'm going to use two ColourPop E3 brushes. Never mind, my other one is dirty. So we're gonna use one ColourPop E3 and one L221 brush. They have a similar shape to them. I'm gonna pick up that pink. Yeah, it's definitely a lot more flaky and chunky. I'm gonna try to tap it back in, all those chunky bits, because that's just gonna end up on my face. And then we're gonna place it right in here. I feel like this shade in the Odens Eye doesn't really look super pink, which I feel like paired with so many like pink and hot pink mattes would have been fun if it was like hot pink and obviously pink, but it definitely is more of like almost a peach bordering on champagne-y type of pink. Like it's just very soft when it comes to a pink shimmer. But it definitely goes on. It has some fallout. As you can see, I got some fallout in my lashes. It's definitely just more flakier. So it's one of my, one of those formulas that's not my favorite from Odens Eye. But so far only one, I think maybe two of these, that type of formula is in this palette. I really like adding that dark shade because it really looks like I cut it and I didn't have to work that hard to do that. So that's a cool trick I'm gonna have to try more often. Now I'm gonna go into the pink on the Kaleidos side. This pink is definitely more exciting to me than the one in the Odens Eye. There's just something special about it. It looks like a little bit shifty. It has like some hotness to the pink in there. It's kind of a similar formula actually. It's like a more of a flaky, chunky type of formula. Definitely a bit messier, but it definitely, in my opinion, looks more hot pink. I feel like this shimmer will go really well and be a lot of fun with the mattes from the Odens Eye. These would be fun palettes to use together. So I'm gonna take the same brush for each of them. I'm just gonna swap it over, clean the brush off a little bit, but then swap over and use the other side just in case. And I'm gonna go into Golden Bridge, and yeah, it feels just like the greens that I used yesterday. So it's going on nice and opaque, nice and pigmented. I'm just going into the green on the grungy green on the Kaleidos side and tapping that on. This is more of a messy formula, kind of like the pink. It's chunky, it's a little bit flaky and like chunky when I'm picking it up with my brush and stuff, so I just try to press in really firmly to make sure it gets into my brush and then tap it off so hopefully all the little bits that would fly all over my face come off before I put it on my face. These shimmers in the Kaleidos, I mean, like I said, they're a bit messy to put on and chunky and flaky and all that, but they are pretty. There's so much sparkle going in with both the green and the pink. It's beautiful. On this side, there is a decent amount of sparkle too, but it's a different type of sparkle. Here, I feel like it's almost a duochrome type of sparkle with the pink, and then the green is just, again, almost duochrome because it's like the green shade is green, but it has like gold sparkle to it, and the pink shade is a really pretty pink, but then it's like a hot pink sparkle, so it just like stands out a little bit more. Whereas on the Odens Eye, the green, I see sparkle, but it's the same color, so it kind of meshes and it's not as stand out as on this side. And then same with the pink, like there is sparkle and whatnot when I'm turning my eyes, but the sparkle is the same color as the shadow, so it doesn't stand out and sparkle in the same way that the Kaleidos side does. But anyway, at this point, let's go ahead and kind of complete this out. I think I'm gonna take a touch of this and blend it out with the pink, and then for the Kaleidos side, I'll try to really like pack this on and then blend it out with that pink. Now we're going to smudge it out. And then I don't know what I'm gonna do. For my inner corner, the only other shimmer shade I haven't used in the Kaleidos palette is the mint, but there's definitely not a mint in the Odens Eye. I'm gonna take that darkest mauve from the Kaleidos side, and we're gonna buff it right in here. Definitely a lot lighter of a shade. Okay, now I'm just gonna take a pencil brush and I'm gonna go in with the lighter pink all together and soften it out. I'm just gonna bring it right up. I'm not really gonna extend it out any. And I'm gonna pick up the lightest pink from the Kaleidos side, and we're gonna do the same thing. That's where those two are going to end. I like it. And now let's do the inner corner. The only shades I haven't tried in the Odens Eye palette are these two, but it's like way too dark, I feel like. That is kind of pretty. I think I might try that on the inner corner. And if I don't like it, or if it's too dark, I'll top it with this, because we already know I'm not gonna get a dupe between the two palettes. Press it down. I need one of my sponges, my little sponge applicators, because that would really pack it on. I think you guys can see it. I think that's what we're gonna do, and then hey, I might just take a tab of that other lighter color and place it on top just to make sure it's nice and bright. And it'll be like a super multi-dimensional type of inner corner. And then on here, I'm just gonna take the mint. Maybe this will be a dead giveaway, the mint green, but it's a tiny little spot. Not that you guys are gonna wonder for long which side's which, but so there we have that. I think you can see it. Again, this type of, because it's that flaky type of brush, it really needs to be like pressed on, and since it's such a tiny area, I can't press it very well. There we go. That's a little bit better. With my inner corner, I feel like I get so much more of an intense application when I use a sponge tip applicator. So I'm gonna put on some liner, probably do brown because I feel like that just goes with it, and then brown or something in my waterline. Put on some lip gloss, Maybelline Lifter Gloss in Stone, And then we'll be right back for the final reveal and to close out this video. Alright, so here is the completed look. I ended up going with a black wing liner and just black in my waterline, so that's just a little bit of difference that I did off camera. But yeah, this is the completed look, and I really do like how the look turned out. I can tell you, comparing them, like I said originally, I really do prefer the color of the pinks on the Kaleidos side, or the color of the pink shimmer on the Kaleidos side over the color of the pink shimmer on the Odens eye. It's just such a softer, honestly more of a peachy champagne-y color than anything that I would say pink. So that's a difference right there, but I also do prefer the intensity and the brightness of the matte pinks on the Odens eye side over the ones on the Kaleidos side. But going into the greens, I feel like, yes, they're a little bit different, but honestly, they're not that different. Like, I would really take one or the other. I like both sides of the greens. I feel like they're both nice grungy green. I got a nice amount of depth. I do feel like I got more depth on the Odens eye, but that is really nitpicking. But from afar, I feel like looking between the two, there's such a teeny tiniest difference. They're really darn close, and so I'm super happy that I was able to get them that close. But anyway, yeah, let's go ahead and now that we've done that, you guys can let me know your thoughts down below. Like I said, I wasn't, doing the two and comparing the two to see if they're dupes to say one over the other. I feel like I'm really split down the middle. Depends on what I like in a palette, on which I prefer. So you have to tell me down below, what are your thoughts? Do you plan to pick up one or the other? Do you have both? Do you think they're close enough dupes? Do you think the Odens eye is different enough, and the Kaleidos eye is different enough? I can't wait to hear what you guys think, but I thought it'd just be a fun little experiment I could do in this video, and just something to hopefully be more information put out there on the internet and put out there on YouTube for you to be able to make an informed decision if you are trying to decide between these two, or decide if you want this, if you already have this palette, that sort of thing. So now let's go ahead and segue into my final thoughts on the Odens eye and Angelica Hela palette. Now, I've only used it twice, so in my opinion, this video is definitely a first impressions. I've done 2 looks with it. I've done one, the first look I was able to wear it all day. So I have a bit of an experience when it comes to this palette, and I also have more experience when it comes to Odens eye's formula in general. So it's an informed first opinion, but in my opinion, still a first opinion. Overall, I'm super happy with this palette. I feel like when we're talking about the shimmers in this palette, I like the majority of the shimmers in this palette over not liking them. I'm not a big fan of the pink. I feel like now that I've used it in a look, I might not be inclined to reach for it, or I'll just use it as like an inner corner highlight type of thing, just because it is that type of flaky. But I'm super happy that all the greens are really nice and smooth, very easy to apply, very metallic looking on the lid. And then this special shade right here is absolutely beautiful. I cannot wait to use it all over my lid. And that leaves like only these two that I haven't used on my eyes yet. But just from the swatches that I did, this, they both seem okay. Like they should have a nice pigmented enough base and not be too terribly flaky. They look a little bit more flaky than the greens, but not as flaky as the pink, if that helps you at all. And then moving on to the mattes, let's see, in the looks that I've done so far, I have used all of the mattes except for this hot pink, I think. I don't think I used this one that much yesterday. I honestly can't remember. So 1 or 2 shades that I haven't used, but everything else I was able to incorporate in the 2 looks that I posted or shared in this video. So all of the grungy greens blend so beautifully together. There's definitely a bit of a softness, especially when, talking about these shades here, that I wish there was a little bit more impactfulness to it, but as you guys did see during the tutorial, I was able to just work and layer it up, and it did get to more intensity and the type of intensity and just more pigmented color with the look that I prefer. I don't know, it's just something that I wouldn't mind, 1 or 2 of them just having a little bit more oomph to the color. But the pinks I'm super happy with. The dark shades, these 3, super happy with. They're nice and dark. They are gorgeous in color. They go on so easily. They blend out so well. Super happy with it. So yeah, first impressions on this palette is I think the quality is absolutely there when it comes to this palette, and I think I'm going to really enjoy using it. The shimmers, there's enough shimmers in there that aren't a hassle, so I don't anticipate myself like being annoyed having to work with the shimmers. I'll just kind of go towards, the greens, because I definitely know I love them. And it's just a color story that's a lot of fun. It's a great grungy green color story with some pops of interest in there that is just makes it so fun to create looks when you sit down in the morning. I definitely think she did a great job with the color story. Odens eye did a great job with the formulas, with the artwork. Everything is just outstanding. It's a really fun color story, and I had a lot of fun doing the 2 looks today, and I know I'm going to enjoy playing with it more, and quality is absolutely there when it comes to the formula of the eyeshadows. I was really happy with it. So with all that said, that is going to do it for my video today. Once again, congratulations to Angelica and Odens eye for this new palette. I'm really happy for them, and I always love it to see a new palette come out from Odens eye. Odens eye just does such a great job when it comes to the presentation and the color stories. They always put something special when it comes to the color stories, and something special when it comes to their formulas, and then the packaging is always just A++. So they definitely once again did it with this new palette, so very happy for them. But yeah, that is going to do it for my video with this new palette. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments. Like I said, said, I hope to do more tutorials over on my Instagram, and like I said, I'll try to focus the tutorials I put on my Instagram. I'll try to focus those on the colors that I didn't use in this video. So if you're following me over on Instagram, hopefully in the coming weeks you'll see different type of looks and be able to see more of those eyeshadows in action on my lids and whatnot in short little quick tutorial reels. So if you want to follow me over there, I'm Lady Katie92, and I post reels and up close eye pictures and all that sort of thing. And I'm sure I'll do a close up of this shot because it's just so fun. Both eyes are fun. So I'm gonna have to decide which one I want to post. But anyway, I'll be posting something, I'm sure, eventually over there. But yeah, with all that said, that is going to do it for me. Thank you guys so very much for watching, and I'll see you guys very soon in my next video. Bye, guys.